Hi guys, welcome back to the next lesson. So in the previous lesson we were outputting our to-dos, and in this lesson I want to work on creating new to-dos before we actually look at kind of manipulating and updating our previous to-dos. So to create new to-dos, we're going to create a new form component. We're going to make API calls from that component to create the to-do, and then we're going to add some actions to our an action to our global context to handle the new to-dos and to get them to output with our current to-dos. So let's move back to the code. So this is our ending point last time. We've got our to-do cards and we're outputting them via the dashboard. What we now need to do is we're going to straight away go and create a new component, and that new component is going to be called new todo.js. That's going to be a functional component. So I'm going to import React from React. Const new to-do is an arrow function. And we're going to return for now just a h1 saying new to do. And then I'm going to export default new to do. So we created our component, we've at least registered it. So I need to then go into the dashboard and I'm going to import new to do from new to do. Sorry, that was quick there. New to do from /new to do. So from our components folder there. I'm then going to output our new to do component in our dashboard below here. So our new to-do component, we can see the h1 we created has just been outputted at the top there. So I'm going to go back to the component. I'm going to close this down for a bit and make that smaller. And inside of here, it's just basically going to be a simple form so that we can add our new to-dos. So I'm going to make a form with the class name of new. I'm going to remove the action. We don't need to have that. Inside that form, I'm going to have an input of type text. And then I'm going to have a button with the class name of button. That is going to be a type of submit. And it's going to say add in it. So we can see we've got our nice form there, really nicely styled. We'll work on the styling in a second. I'm going to disable this button though, if we don't have any content put in. I will do that in a second actually. So we need to first style this up, I think, and then we can work on the actual functionality. So we've got the base dummy component as it is. So I'm going to go to our SCSS file, and I'm going to do some styling here. So .new, it's going to have a display of flex. I'm going to align items center. I'm going to have a padding of 15 pixels on there. The background color is going to be dark light, dark-light, $dark-light. We're accessing our variable. We're going to have a margin bottom of 30 pixels and a border -radius of 5 pixels. There we go. So we've got a nice new to do there. Our button's already started up, but we need to start up the input. So it's going to have a width of 100%, a margin right of 20 pixels. It's going to have a font size of 1.125 rem. A padding of 9 pixels space 15 pixels, a background color of dark, a border none, we don't want a border in there, but we do want a border radius of 5 pixels. And when we focus that input, we don't want this horrible border. We're going to do outline none on the focus and :focus outline none. So we style that up. I need to add a color to that. So I'm going to do underneath our input color $white. So that's always white. Okay. So we've got our basic styling there on the new to do. I am now going to add some functionality to the to do component. So we need some React state, and that's going to be content. So we're going to create a new state variable, content in square brackets set content equals react.useState and an empty string. And then const, and then we're going to set our input of type text. We're going to do the value equals content, and then on change, we're going to have a function with e passed into it, and set content e.target.value. So now we've got our content variable wired up, our state variable there. We then need to add a onSubmit function. So we're going to, on our form, add onSubmit equals onSubmit. And we're going to make this new function up here. So const on submit. It's going to have an event passed into it. We're going to do e.prevent default. And what we're going to do is we're going to make an axios.post request to /API/todos/new. And we're going to pass in the data, so an object with content in it. So that's just curly braces with content in it. And then .then, we're going to do res. We're going to, in our .then, we've got an arrow function with res. And then we're going to set the content back to an empty string. And we now then need to create an action of add to do so that we can add it to our state management, to our global context. So that will be add to do res.data. But we haven't created that yet, so I'm just going to comment that out and we'll create that in a second on our global context. Axios isn't defined, so import Axios from Axios at the top of our React component there. And then when I type in here and I click submit, nothing's going to happen because we haven't added it to our state yet, our global context. But if I was to refresh the page, you'll see that when we get the current user data on refresh, it does appear. But we need to work on state management to basically make sure that's imported in by default. So I'm going to go to global context. We're going to scroll to the bottom and we're going to create a new action called const add to do, which is a function. We're going to pass in to that function, we're passing in a to do. So it's an arrow function there. And all we're going to do, so we know that a brand new to do is always going to be incomplete. So we're going to dispatch our reducer. We're going to dispatch an action of type set incomplete to-dos. And all we're going to do, we know that incomplete to-dos is an array. So I'm going to just make this easier to read quickly. Our payload is going to be, we're going to make a new array. We're going to do to-do. So we're going to add our to-do to the front of that array. And then we're going to spread the rest of the state.incomplete to-dos. So what this is going to do is it's going to take our new to-do, add it to the top of our existing incomplete to-dos in our state management, in our state array. We then need to export this, we need to add this add to do action to our provider. So I've added that there. Now on our new to-dos tab, our /add to do here on res.data, we can import from the global context. So it's telling us it's undefined at the moment, but I'm going to import use global context from our context, from /context/global context. We're going to do const, and we are going to destructure, and we're going to get the add to do function, action even, from our use global context. So now, wash the car. When I add our new to do, it adds it to the top of our incomplete to do list, and it adds it to our state, so we don't have to do anything special. I am going to disable this button because I don't want to be able to click add if I haven't got anything typed in the content. So I'm going to disable this button if content.length is equal to 0. So it is equal to 0. As soon as I type, that button becomes accessible so we can submit the form again. And I think that's all we need to do. I'm trying to have a think if we need to manage anything else, but I think for the new to-dos, that's it. We've just got a nice new form. We don't really need to handle it in any other way. So that's new to-dos done. And in the next lesson, we are going to have a look at marking our to-dos as complete and incomplete. So we can switch our to-dos from each list, our complete list and our incomplete list. So I'll catch you guys in the next lesson. Thanks for watching.